Welcome to Roots, Routes and Voices, Stories That Shape America. I'm Clara Matonodze, your co-host and creator of the series. Every person you'll meet in this podcast has roots somewhere. A place, a language, a table they grew up at. And at some point, they chose a different route. To live, to stay, to begin again in America. What happened along that route shaped everything. And what they built when they arrived, whether it was a business, a community, lifestyles that didn't exist before they got here, that became their voice in this country. Those roots, those routes, those voices, this is what this podcast is made of.
And I'm Brian Wright, Executive Director of Cincinnati Compass and your co-host. A quick note before we begin. The views and stories shared here are those of our guests and do not reflect those of Cincinnati Compass. We believe every voice has a place, especially when it shapes the future of our cities. We would also like to thank our hosts and sponsors who made Season 2 possible, thanks to the Marketer Collaborative and the Greater Cincinnati Foundation.
Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Roots, Routes and Voices, Stories That Shape America, a Cincinnati Campus podcast. I'm your host and creator of the series, Clara Matonodze.
And I'm Brian Wright, Executive Director of Cincinnati Compass and co-host. Before we dive in, a quick note. The views and stories shared here are those of our guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Cincinnati Compass. We believe every voice has a place, especially when it shapes the future of our cities.
It's awesome, Brian. So I have a question for you, Brian, before we even start.
Go ahead.
So if I told you someone left behind a master's degree in nothing other than molecular biology. Think about that, molecular biology, to cook West African food in Cincinnati. No network, no kitchen, no customers. What would you say about that?
I'd say she knew something the rest of us hadn't figured out yet.
I think so. You're right. And that's exactly it. And today's guest has been proving that ever since. She came from Ghana to Maryland at 9 years old, put herself through a master's molecular biology degree, built a catering business as a side hustle just to survive grad school, and then made an audacious decision to go all in on food in Cincinnati from scratch, if you can imagine that.
Chef Gabi Odebode is the founder and executive chef of Afromeals LLC and the president of the Afromeals Foundation. Her cookbook hit #1 on Amazon in its first week. She's a Food Network recipe developer. Her spice blends are on shelves at Jungle Gyms and Findlay Market, and she's using all of it to put West African culture on the map in this region.
And she didn't just build a business, she built a nonprofit alongside it. I love this about Gabi. One that teaches cooking to women living shelters, foster youth aging out of care, immigrant families learning to navigate a new country. And that's just not a side project, Brian. It's a whole second calling, don't you think?
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to have a conversation. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm
excited to be here.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, Chef Gabi, welcome to Roots, Routes and Voices, Stories That Shape America.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You are welcome.
And I'm looking forward to sharing my voice here.
You're very welcome. So, Gabi, before we even get to Cincinnati, let's talk about getting into business.
Yeah.
Before the cookbook, before the spice blends, I want us to go back to Ghana.
Yeah.
Because everything that you have built is there.
Yeah.
So I want you to take us home. You left Ghana at 9 years old.
Yes.
That's young enough that you had already built a full childhood there.
Yes.
And old enough to remember it clearly. What do you carry from that time that still shows in your life history?
I carry, #1, my culture. Like you said, old enough for me to remember the experiences. I carry my upbringing. That's what kind of made me who I am, how I was raised, how I was taught to treat people. My culture is part of how I was raised. So I carry a huge part of my culture because I lived it every single day.
So West African food is built on community. Cooking for a crowd, sharing from one pot.
Yes.
Was food central in your home growing up, or did that love for food come later on?
food was very central growing up, especially in Ghana. They knew that I was hungry when I was angry. It's like, oh, yes, I was hangry. It's like, we need to feed Gabi. You know, she's getting angry again because, like, I love food. Because that was what I grew up with, and food is culture. So, and one thing I love about growing up in Ghana is that everything was communal. We all ate in the same pot together. It sounds very, interesting, or like people like, ew, everybody, like we all ate, we washed our hands, we all ate with our hand in one pot.
Seated in a circle.
Exactly, with my sister, my cousin, my aunts, and stuff like that. Some people stole your meat, but it comes with that,
You learn to eat pretty fast, don't you?
Yes, exactly. You learn to eat pretty fast, and you learn to not be like slow and stuff like that. So food was a big part of our culture. Food was a big part of my upbringing, and that's why it's still something that is like in me. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, so as you're growing up in Ghana and at some point, you took a food and nutrition class.
Yes.
Was that in Ghana or here? And something clicked.
That was here in high school. I went to Northwestern High School in Maryland, and for an elective, I'm like, okay, let me try something different, because it's kind of like growing up in an African, a West African, or specifically a Ghanaian household. Food is something that you do. So being in school, thinking that, okay, you don't think about wanting to take a food and nutrition cooking class, or learning to take a cooking class, because it's kind of like, you better learn how to cook or be in the kitchen in my home when your mom is cooking, or your grandma or your aunt and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was kind of weird for me, but I'm like, let me see what this is all about. And I loved it because I learned a different ways of cooking. Like the first person I encountered was Rachel Ray, 30 minutes cooking. And I'm like, wow, there's such a thing, how you're able to figure out a limited time of cooking without being in the kitchen. Like, our food, we stay in the kitchen. Yes. Cooking. So that was like it opened my mind to another way of like preparing food and bringing it to my culture. How can I prepare certain food in 30 minutes? So, yeah.
Was there someone when you were younger and cooking, and it was always a part of the family, right? So as you shared, it takes hours. It's an event, right?
Yes.
Was there someone or some people that you looked to that taught you how to cook, that you brought recipes with you? Yeah. And can you talk about that a little bit?
My aunt. My parents actually immigrated to the United States when I was like 4 or 5. So they left us with my aunt. So my aunt raised us for most part of my life, and very strict, made us who we are now. But like, she is a great cook. Like, her food was amazing. So looking at that, and most of the stuff I actually picked up, not just cooking, doing my own hair, doing crocheting and all of that. My aunt, I saw her do all of that, so I was able to pick it up. So she's one of the reasons why I like to cook. And also looking back, I saw that, like, from my dad's side, they had restaurants. And coming back from school in Ghana, my sister and I are working back home. It's like, let's go and see my dad's side of the family. I'm like, sit down and eat, and we call it chop bar. So you sit down at a chop bar and then you eat whatever you want. So food it's kind of like in my DNA, because we had people from my dad's side and my mom's side that were very good at it. If it wasn't for catering, they were doing a bakery as well. So my aunt owned a bakery in Ghana as well.
Yeah. I wonder at what age.
Sorry, I'm saying, like, what a chop bar? Like, I'm curious, like, what is it?
Chop. Chop means eat. Right, so basically eat bar. So it's like a Nigerian slang, like I did chop, like I'm going to eat. So it's also a slang that we also say in Ghana. So chop bar is like basically eating bar, a place to eat. So we call it chop bar.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Are you imagining a Chipotle with different things, and you're just picking off of the
I'm just curious, like, what's the vibe set up, and like, is it just?
It's very chill, and then like you have the cook, literally someone like is pounding fufu, and then you tell them what type of soup you want. The soups are all on like burners, and then like it's like, oh, I want this soup, I want that soup, I want that kind of meat. It's very relaxed, very free. You just go and then you eat, no judgment, you enjoy it, and then you leave. You pay and you leave.
Well, as a chef, that sounds like the next big thing, Gabi.
Yes. Yes.
But
chop bar.
I love how you talked about how food is just in you.
Yes.
Right. I remember some time ago talking with a friend who had been telling her 10-year-old daughter who was protesting doing, I can't remember what show it was.
Okay.
And she's like, do you know, when I was 10 years old, I was old enough to cook food for the whole family.
Yes.
You know, I could cook food for the whole family at 10.
Yes.
And so you're saying this is something that is in you.
Yes.
I want it. What? And then the influence of your aunt, whom you're growing up, and you're looking at while she's teaching you how to do all of that. Does any part of you, or not any part, but like at what age would you say probably you were confident to know that this was a skill you had?
I would say when I started the food and nutrition class.
Okay.
Because when I started the food, and I think that would be about 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
When I started taking the class, I'll come back home, I'll look through our pantry. Because I was familiar with the, West African Ghanaian cooking.
Yeah.
But what I wasn't familiar with, how some the Americans cook and what they do, and that's what I was learning in my food and nutrition class. So I go home and then I start putting things together. At some point, I became the one making certain things for my family, like baked chicken and all of that. So I think I would say I became very confident at the age of 16. Yeah.
Nice.
So at 16, you're cooking, and I'm thinking, so at this time you're in Maryland, right?
Yes.
So thinking about that time, what was the hardest thing to explain to American kids about where you came from, and were you alone on this new island and place? Can you kind of describe what the experience was like then, and your community at that time?
I mean, we came here at the age of 9. It was very new. Kids were, and America is very a solitude type of place, where versus growing up in Ghana, it's communal. Everybody's together. You don't have to know anyone to go to their compound house. The kids are playing together. During maybe here we call it spring break, but in Ghana, during break from school, you're going from home to home, compound house to compound house, playing with random kids you've never met before.
Spring break every day.
Yes, it's spring break every day. The freedom and the safety. You can go, a bunch of kids can go to different places without being afraid of safety or any weird things happening to them. And we're all young. Think under, I was 9 when I came here, so 9 and under, and a little bit older. But here, coming to America, everybody's to themselves. People are not as open, and I wouldn't say everybody, some people are not as open, are not as welcoming. So it was kind of hard for me and my sister to adjust. Not to talk about even the food. We couldn't eat some of the food because we couldn't recognize it. I was like, what is pizza? I was not used to cheese and all of that. So it's kind of things were kind of harder, but then we started assimilating and getting used to it and becoming, friends with certain people who were laughed at a little bit because of some of the ways we did things. So bullying was there, but we just, my sister and I, we grew up in Ghana. You learn to be tough, so it didn't move us or anything.
You're growing up amongst the kids.
Yes,
so you quickly learn.
Yes, you quickly
to
learn
advocate for yourself and to stand up for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
It sounds like from the kitchen table and the dinner table, fighting to protect your meat to out in the community. So it sounds like, what I'm hearing is right. Ghana has never really left you, right?
No.
It's always been with you along the way.
Yes.
It just may have gone underground for a while. So you're 16, you're getting ready, getting closer to graduating high school and going to college.
Yeah.
And we know that at some point, biology and the sciences came in. And but it seemed like it was always there.
Yes.
Can we talk about that? When did the sciences component, when did that become an interest to you?
So, being from a Ghanaian household, there's only a few things you can become. A chef is not one of them. So a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, nurse, all of that. So if you're going to pick something that you're going to go to school for, it better be in one of those career goals. So I love science because I love how things work. When I started I guess when I came here is when I started understanding science in a way where I guess I didn't understand it as much. And I'm like, wow, I love the biology. I love how things work. I love learning about cells and I love learning about matter. I love learning about different ways different things work. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to major in science and math. I love math because Ghana, you need to know math. Every person, we had a tutor that like was tough. Like you need to know math. So math and science was my core. Those were some of the fun things that I love to do. And then food is something that just came alongside while I was pursuing that. So my goal was to become a doctor. Okay. That's why like
that was the dream.
Exactly.
At the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah.
But you didn't feel professionally fulfilled with that route, did you?
Yes. At some point, graduating from high school and then going to college and then actually working I did research for like almost 3 years, studying mice brain, neuroscience and all of the things for my master's. And it was so repetitive, doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm the type of person that like different challenges every single day. And I didn't see myself being in a lab doing the same thing, and that's why I didn't pursue the PhD, because I knew that that's what I was still going to do. And I was like, okay, how about I work in a hospital? It is going to be fun. It's a lot of moving parts. So I did work in a hospital as a clinical research, and I didn't like it because I worked in oncology and it was very depressing. And I'm like, this is not what I thought it would be. And that's where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make my side hustle at the time, which was like catering and all the things, into my main hustle. I love feeding people, I love cooking, and I love food. So I'm going to pursue that, and I haven't turned back since.
Yeah. So I can imagine that is a very isolating experience, maybe, as you're going through it, of trying to figure out how you make that shift. Can you walk us through some of those decisions? Maybe who did you confide in? If you like, walk us through the experience, because I know also as an immigrant, it's not easy. Like this was the dream that you wanted, was to work in the science, be a doctor. Your family is probably looking forward to, that's who you're going to become. And now you're changing. Yeah. Walk us through how that was like.
And with the Ghanaian community, it's not just your family is expecting, the whole community.
Everybody.
Because like your parents have told everyone and their grandmother that you're going to become a doctor. So when that is not what you're doing anymore, it's kind of like you want to hide, But then at some point, my husband was a big supporter of anything and everything I wanted to do. So he was like, and he's the one who actually took me to Costco, started buying ingredients. He was the one who started reaching out to people. Oh, my wife is a great cook. She can cook for your party. So he started it. And I was very shy about it because I'm like, no,
I don't want to cook for your party when I've just left the ER.
Yes, exactly. So he was like the main driving force behind doing it, going out and doing it and stuff like that. So, and I was trying to build confidence. Also, embarrassment came out like, oh, you're trying to, because people don't put respect on the fact that, oh, she's a chef, she owns her own business, because they think that being a doctor is more like prestigious and all of the stuff, So sometimes that shame, you start to feel that shame. And I'm like, no. And I got to a certain point, I'm like, wait, this is my life. At the end of the day, I have to deal with the consequences of what I allowed, in my life, the voices that, trained me to go for something that I wouldn't be fulfilled in versus. So when I also realized that, I started really standing in it, and I started doing stuff. I started doing the catering and the cooking class and things that didn't look very polished and light and sparkling and all of that stuff. And I was like, well,
grant work.
Exactly. I'm like, this is what I love to do. And at the end of the day, at the end of my life, I want to be able to say I did something that I wanted to do and I was fulfilled doing it, instead of doing something that somebody else wanted me to do. Or maybe at some point I wanted to do it, but then things change and you have to be able to follow that, instead of leaning in something that you thought was going to be the thing and stuff like that. So actually following my inner voice is what helped me to also do it.
So your husband sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, he is.
Can you tell us a little bit about him? Where did you guys meet? What does he do?
My husband and I met
He's
in
encouraging
college.
you to be cooking.
Yes.
He doesn't know. Is he African?
Yes, he's from Nigeria.
He's from Nigeria.
Yes. So
another culture that's
Yes.
very much like if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, you're nothing.
Right.
So
exactly.
that's interesting.
Exactly.
Tell us
And then,
about
like
him.
his parents
Yeah.
also wanted him to become a doctor because his dad is a neurosurgeon,
Uh-huh.
but he decided to do IT. So we have something in common.
Yeah.
So he's amazing. He's very smart, very intelligent. He came here to do his master's, and that's where we met. And when we met, like he had a vision. He already knew he was going to marry me, right? Before I knew. So
okay.
my husband, when he wants something, he goes after it and he gets it. So that characteristic also, like he's very ambitious. So that being next to that kind of a person is going to kind of like get on you.
Yes.
It's going to be all over you. So like now I've become more ambitious, knowing that I can do certain things. He has confidence level is like here, right? And I've been able to like, get that from him as well. But he has his PhD. He did his PhD in IT stuff, AI and data management, all of those things, but very complex stuff. He's very intelligent, like I said before. So he was the driver of, supporting me. Like I would not be able to tell certain people, but he was the one that I could tell him like, hey, go for it. Like, how can I help you? And all of that. How can we invest? And like, using our money to do all of the stuff. You don't even know where it's going to go. And we're a college student too. So the little money that we had is what he invested in our business and stuff like that. So he's pretty amazing.
That's good to have. You've talked about, the external support, the support of your partner, of your husband.
Yes.
At that time, y'all were partners, right?
Yes.
So, and you also talked about your internal voice that was helping you along the way.
Yes.
And I'm hearing you talk about you're going to a master's program in molecular biology. You're working in a lab, but it's not really your kind of life that you want to live.
Yeah.
You're catering on the side. Yeah, I'm hearing risk and you looking it in the face and pursuing it and having confidence. And it's like, but okay to like you talked about it not being so polished. And so you're just going to do it and build and learn. So there's a confidence there too. And I'm curious, when you started this catering, you were always cooking with family.
Yes.
But now you're starting to cook for other people.
Yes.
That sounds scary.
Yes.
Or were you like, it's no different because is there a difference? And
we have just 10x what we do in the family every day.
Yes.
Right.
But
you can cook for your family and your mom will be like, maybe you can do this better. And that's your mom, right? She can have grace for you. But like, and she's not paying you. Right? But like catering, people are paying you to get the work done. And that's why sometimes it's nerve-wracking, like, oh, what are people going to think? So I had ways of kind of like figuring out. I did tastings. My husband has a strong palate. Some of my friends have a strong palate, meaning that they're able to taste food and say, this has a little bit of something is in here. So I used to do a lot. And that's where my biology... Because, I'm like, my biology came in because I did a lot of research and development for my master's. It helped me for producing spices, for flavor profile with my food. So I'm like, okay, I didn't throw away my biology degree. It actually helped me. So sometimes I'm like, I wasted all this time. Like, no, like you're doing R&D with for your what do you call it, CPG products. You're doing R&D, trying to kind of like figure out the best recipe for jollof rice. I've changed my jollof rice recipe so many times.
You are not getting into that fight of like, I finally found the best recipe for jollof rice, and it is Canadian.
For me and my clients.
We're in dangerous territory.
I know, right? I should have picked something else. So, so like the biology degree actually, it's like sometimes you go through life and you don't know, because food is in a way an art, but also chemistry. You put in the wrong things and like something is going to taste off. So just learning how to balance, how does sugar and salt work? How does, like all the different things that are happening, chemical reactions going on, how does it work? And all of that, I use that to create like, delicious meals that get clients coming back, cooking classes, writing, developing recipes, and all of this stuff.
And that's really one thing I like, Gabi, about what you do. And I think you can almost see the influence of your biology, your molecular biology degree, and you getting a scientific approach to it. Because I feel like African cuisine is never ranked in the top 10 of cuisines. You know,
they're wrong.
Even when you studied,
they're so wrong. Whoever made that, that's ridiculous.
No, but I can see why. I can see why. I think personally, being from Southern Africa, I think our cuisine is very different. Yeah. But I can also see how the way, say, West Africans cook some of the foods, if you're not used to that culture.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's you have to have a very well-developed palate to be able to, in one pot, mix the fish and the beef and the chicken and
the rice.
Like everything. And then you have peppers that are like on a scale of 0 to 20 are probably at 30.
Yes.
You know? So I can really see probably the challenge, especially if you're living in America, in just trying to have African cuisine breakthrough. Because again, when most Americans are thinking African cuisine, it's really West African cuisine, you know. And so you having the profile that you have and understanding probably food from a scientific point of view, what works with what doesn't work with what. I wonder if you feel that is part of what definitely has changed the equation for you and how people are receiving what you're offering.
In a way, very, very true, because I think that's one thing that I have as like the, I guess, upper hand, because like you mentioned, the way we cook is very intricate. Like there's a slow cooking part of it, water and stew, and especially like, and that's why the jollof rice thing is a big deal to us, because you can't just up and say, it's not like cooking regular rice. Right. You're making the stew, you're adding the rice, and then you're going to figure out how much water to add to the rice along with the stew, balancing it to be able to get like a rice that is not mushy or hard. And some people, if they're not from the culture, right, you could be the best chef in town. If you're not from the culture and someone doesn't teach you, then you're either going to get mushy rice mixed with like hard rice because of the ratio of the rice, the water that you add, or the broth and the rice. So for me, being from the biology background, I play with different things. And because like while I was doing my biology, I did tests for the same thing for over 100 times. I have 130 mice that I worked with.
130 mice?
Yes, mice. I raised all of them.
For food or for
my biology?
Okay.
That I raised and did my biology with. So doing the same thing over and over is something that I'm used to. So with when it comes to like catering and when it comes to product development, doing something over and over until you get the best is not just about the taste but texture. Because sometimes if you don't put the texture is everything. Because food is not just it tastes good, but is it crunchy? Is it soft? And then like, is it sweet? Is it savory? So it's kind of like there's a lot of balancing act going on. So like that biology degree really gave me the upper hand.
Yeah, I love it. And we're actually coming up on a break soon. So we're talking about, I love how you're talking about the different ways of food. Food as community.
Yes.
Food as science.
Yes.
It's a science, and talk about the science behind it.
Yeah.
And I met you when you were at Findlay Kitchen, and launching Afromeals, and I would love to dive into that and how, even go back to when you moved to Cincinnati, what brought you here, and line up of where you are with Findlay Kitchen and Afromeals, and get into how food as culture, and you talk about this as an experience, and experiencing the culture. And I think I would love to talk more about that. But let's take a pause right now, and we'll be right back.
A word from our studio home this season. Roots, Routes and Voices records at the Market Collaborative at 15 East 14th Street in Cincinnati. It's a space built for people who believe that creative work and meaningful work belong in the same room. We do too. Schedule your tour at themarketercollab.com. Welcome back to Roots, Routes and Voices, Stories That Shape America, a Cincinnati campus podcast. We are talking today with Chef Gabi Odebode. Yes. I get a star for the day.
Yeah.
And we have been talking about food and culture. So, Gabi, your tagline is experience the culture. It's not taste the food. It's not try something new. It's experience the culture.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a deliberate choice.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
What does that phrase mean to you?
That phrase means everything to me and to the business and to what we're trying to accomplish. Coming to Ohio from Maryland, our first stop was in Dayton, and finding certain things that is a necessity to us was hard, like food ingredients and finding places to get food, cook food or ingredients and all of that. And I'm like, where are all these African grocery stores or eateries and all of that. And this was 2018. So we had to go back to Maryland to get some of the things that we needed because we barely found it around where we were living at the time. So I'm like, you know what? And also I noticed that like food relating to the African experience was not being discussed, So I'm like, you know what, these people here in Ohio, they need an African experience. They need to experience the culture. And like I said, food is culture. So I wanted to bring them the African culture through what I know and love, which is food. Right. So that's how we got the tagline.
Experience. So there is there's a and I don't know if we can call it a criticism, but I remember a conversation that I had with someone about being in the restaurant business.
Yes.
And this was actually around the time when I was learning to be a chef, and I wanted to do what you're doing right now when I grew up.
Yes.
And part of the discussion was about people experience African cuisine.
Yes.
But it's not something that on an average day someone goes like, oh yeah, let's go and eat African food, and it's a repeat experience.
Yes.
And so they're like, one of the downsides of that is people look at African cuisine and it's an experience.
Yes.
And experiences are usually like one-off, and they don't come back.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Like, what has been your
I would say
experience?
That actually having an experience with other cultures, like maybe Asian cuisine, like maybe having some cuisine from India or like Chinese food and Thai food. For me, it's an experience because it's not an everyday thing. Every day I eat my cultural food, right? So for me, going to taking my family to a Chinese restaurant, is an experience. We're going to experience Chinese food today. So it depends on from a different culture can expect someone from a different culture to have my food every single day because like my kids right now is how they are brought up. You eat what you're used to eating, but once in a while you get to experience something else. Right. So that's how I view that.
You view it. Yes. Do you also think it has a lot to do with accessibility? Because as much as I also say that, I know in my other business, I have a client who cooks African food.
Yes.
And she's on DoorDash.
Yes.
And she is constantly just sells and sells and sells and sells. And if you talk with her, she'll tell you food is the way to go.
Yes.
So I wonder as well if it's about accessibility.
Yes. And I think that's the reason why there was a gap. Right? And for me, I see myself as one of the people there's a bunch of people doing it in their own different ways. I'm just a part of that puzzle, trying to do it in my own way.
Right.
Accessibility is an issue because I remember when I started teaching the cooking classes in different cooking schools, and this elderly man came to me and was like, where have you guys been after learning how to cook the food and enjoying it? It's like, where have you been? Are you all hiding? I was like, well, now that's why I'm here to bring this experience to you. Exactly.
Yes, people love it.
So it's kind of like we also have to get out there, and we also have to be able to not just keep the food to ourselves, because sometimes we open our restaurant and we expect only our people to come. But for me, I open the door to anyone who's willing to experience my culture. Everyone is open to come in and experience it, so that it becomes something that they're also eating every single day. And some people actually, they like it so much, it becomes their daily meals, and they are not off the culture.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It does seem like accessibility, and just moving to Cincinnati, it does seem like when I was first here, there weren't a lot of African markets. There weren't a lot of produce or peppers or types of, ingredients that you would need.
Yes.
And also then access to not only the food and the produce, but also the knowledge and such. And you do that with your cooking classes.
Yes.
And I want to talk about the cooking classes too, but on a bigger scale, you're talking about accessibility and, you're developing recipes of West African cuisine with the Food Network.
Yes.
And then do you and that's a pretty mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you feel that we're at a point now where there's a breakthrough within American culture of African cuisine? Or do you? There are some staples within American cuisine already, but do you feel like that moment's here, or is it still a fight? Like, where do you think it is as far as breaking the mainstream?
I still think it's still a fight. I feel like there's an introduction, right? Which is, for me, is like kind of sad because like Africa, we're still talking about a continent, 54 countries, right?
Yeah.
And we're still having to fight to be part of the top 10 cuisines when it's mentioned, not because our food is not good, not because of our techniques are not good, but because people don't know much about what we have to offer. And sometimes it's also because of like, it's either ignorance or they just don't know. And that's why what I'm doing, I'm coming to help those with, the barrier, either ignorance or they're not able to access the education. So teach them so that they know that this is here, so that like we're being talked about more, so that we're kind of like getting the word out there, so that like people are starting to recognize that we're here. We're 54, there's 54 of us, and we have different delicious cuisine if you go to different parts of the country. So the Food Network, I feel like, is an introduction and is a small door, but it could be bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
And it seems like with that introduction in 54 countries and then which with unique cuisine across all the countries. There's some similarities. We talked about jollof rice earlier and such, but do you take it from Food Network smaller into your cooking classes?
Yes.
Like it seems like that is a space where you're engaging with corporate clients, bachelorette parties, community groups, nonprofits and others.
Yes.
Is that the kind of the space where you're bringing this awareness in and the techniques, the spices?
Yes. I always tell people think they're coming to eat delicious food, but they don't know that I'm educating them like secretly and teaching them about the culture, the ingredients, our way of life. So you're coming for the food, but you're also coming for education about who we are, what we do. It's not just jollof rice. There's rice pilau. There's so many other cultures. So we don't just do West African cooking. We do South African. We do North and East, so that you can see that as much as we have similarities, we're also very different. And that's why there's no such thing called African food. There's a variety of different foods, but there's nothing called African food because we're different, but we're slightly similar. We have we have similar values, but like when it comes to like our clothing and our food and languages, we're also very different.
So speaking about accessibility and the education, can you talk to us about your patented puff mix?
Yes. So it was actually a provisional patent that we start with because like I said, we're college students, we're broke, and it was a DIY.
This is not something recent. This is from back in the
Yes.
So you already had
the
vision.
Yes, my first product was in during my master's, which was the puff mix, and I checked everywhere. I checked Google. This was like before my daughter was born, 2013. I checked Google. I checked like the patent office to make sure that there's nothing out there like that. And then I started working it. So before I released
Maybe you shouldn't have talked about it because now we're going to see all sorts of patterns.
Exactly.
Right. African food, but not by Africans.
But now I'm so far ahead. I'm like, instead of like fighting for a patent, my business is growing. So, and now everybody's making puff mix. It's everywhere. So, before releasing it, I decided to like do my due diligence by like, doing a provisional patent, which I did. I couldn't afford a lawyer, so I studied the laws and all of that and did the DIY patent. Provisional patent just to make sure, and that's where sometimes it's not just about the craft, it's also education, because some people have created amazing products and then no one can track or trace that they did it because they didn't have that education about like doing your due diligence by securing like your products
everyone who's doing the puff mix that you say everyone's doing, is this because of your pattern? Are they looking it up or is
yes, I know that
a correlation?
A competitor, I think 2 years after I released it on Facebook, I got my friends to share it everywhere. So it traveled. So a competitor saw that there was a provisional patent, so they did a trademark of their own. Because if you have a trademark of a certain name, that means that like you're safe, right? So she started releasing hers. Mine was in like the markets in Maryland. Hers was also like in traveling. We heard about her. So I go after her. And then I learned about, the Wright brothers. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not about to waste my time going after people and patent. So I'm just going to keep growing my business. And today, my business has like, venture of different places. And Puff Mix is just a part of our story.
Wow.
And just real quick, that's exciting, but just real quick, for a lot of people do know, but can you just share real quick what Puff is?
Yes.
Puff? Oh my God. Puff is, I like to say, an African donut or a beignet that we eat. And I grew up eating it with something called cocoa. Cocoa is basically like a porridge made with like fermented corn. You add sugar to it and then you eat it with a puff, either a Saturday or when you're going to school. And it's kind of dense. It's like not as airy as donuts here because we walk to school. We do a lot of like things that like exert a lot of energy. We used to walk to school, so your breakfast had to be heavy. So it's very sweet, and now we eat it as a dessert.
I love puffs.
They're delicious.
So I was at Jungle James the other day, and I did not realize, this is one in Fairfield, I did not realize like there are all sorts of flavors now.
Yes.
Because I was just used to eating, I think it's the original.
Yes.
And now you can have it in like caramel, cinnamon, vanilla.
Yes.
And I was just so excited. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you're part of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about, so you have the cooking classes, you have Afromeals.
Yes.
You have your business, and you also have a foundation. Could you talk about kind of we have a little bit of the origin, but can you talk more about what Afromeals is and what you do with Afromeals and the foundation?
Yeah. So Afromeals, we're here to give people the African culture through our cooking classes, catering, and also our CPG products. We like to give people that experience. They come in, they walk in, they see a table set up for them, all the ingredients. We tell them about the ingredients. While they're cooking, you hear stories about, upbringing, either if we're doing a Ghanaian cooking or whatever. If we're doing a Kenyan cooking, you learn about the culture there and all of that. So it's more than just the food. They also learn about the ingredients and also how life is back there. So, yeah.
So this is the foundation you're talking about.
This is the business. The foundation is slightly different. The foundation is here to also provide food and nutrition cooking classes for those who are not able to afford it. Because since we started the business, a lot of people reach out to us and want to come for a cooking class, but we can't afford it. And for them is like a way of life. I believe that food and nutrition should be a right, not a privilege. Those come into our business is a privilege. It's a privilege for them to be able to afford a ticket. They can. Some people can't. So we started a nonprofit to serve these people who actually need these services that we provide but cannot afford it. Also, we're catering to those looking for culturally relevant ingredients, and we're able to give that to them as well.
Can you talk a little bit more about the types of people that the foundation is? I know a part of that work is with victims of domestic violence.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more about that work with the foundation and the type of communities specifically that the foundation is working with?
So we work with domestic people who have gone through domestic violence. It's hard to leave, and when you leave, you need support and how you can be surrounded. Food is a big deal, right? You need food. You need to learn how to cook the food, because some of them have to learn how to sustain them or their families if they have kids and stuff like that. So we teach that. Teaching people how to cook is a form of sustainability. We also help foster care children. Cooking is a life skill. teach them those life skills so that after they age out of the system, they're able to take care of themselves. We also do immigrants who are here but are not able to afford food or cannot find culturally relevant ingredient that they're used to using to cook. We provide that to them as well. Seniors who want to learn how to cook because now they're living by themselves or they're living in a group home, we do cooking classes with them as well. So we work with a variety of different communities.
So what does that mean to you personally?
Oh, it means
running the nonprofit.
The nonprofit, my husband always says, it seems like you're like more passionate. No one will have to push you to do this one. Like
than the business.
Yes, than the business. Because I remember coming here at the age of 9, and the first commercial I saw at the age of 9 in America is that feed the hungry. And it was specifically children. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And also growing up in Ghana, I was privileged because my parents were here. They sent money home. I went to some of the best private schools, but the kids that were surrounding me were not that privileged. Their clothes were torn. They barely had food to eat. Some of them pick stuff off the floor and eat it and stuff like. So I remember being with those kids. We didn't make them feel like they didn't have because we're kids. We didn't really notice that.
And you're all just playing
together. We're all playing together. So it's just now that the foundation started, I'm like, wow, I was with these group of people and this is what I want to do with my life. So I'm very privileged. I'm very happy to be doing this. It just like does something for a part of my heart. Like I feel very fulfilled.
We're so happy you're doing this.
I know. So, you could have literally just built your business and called it a day. You know, like the nonprofit, you don't have to go that way. But, you know, it says a lot about yourself and how you see yourself and how you contribute to this new community that you've adopted, Cincinnati, your new home.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I love that.
And we know that immigrant communities are highly entrepreneurial. We know that immigrants come to the U.S., create jobs through starting and building businesses. Yes. And that's a story we love to tell and to showcase. What is some advice that you would have for an aspiring entrepreneur that's getting started? I mean, the food industry is a tough industry to get involved. And so, but any kind of entrepreneurial endeavor is going to be tough. But what kind of advice do you have for someone that is starting a business or thinking about it?
I would say that number one, start and bet on yourself. I would say get education, find people, don't be in a silo, don't be to yourself. And I feel like I am where I am because of like people like you all that I've been able to connect with, like, hey, go here, check out this person is here. So the community also helps you. Once they know your vision and your goal, don't be shy to talk to people. Don't be shy because our culture, we're also trained to kind of like be kind of like humble and, you know, not talk and, respectful, you know, and stuff like that. So, but like go out. There are people out there that is trying to help you. People want to support your vision. Once they know your goal, they will come behind you. So for me personally, one thing I will give an advice, because I say this because I say I'm an introvert. I'm very shy. So going out was not easy for me. But because of the goal and what I'm trying to accomplish, I went out there. I met with the people, and those people were able to say, hey, Gabi, go here, talk to this person, go here, go here. So I would say build a community and go out there, relate and talk to people.
Yeah. I love that so much, Gabi. Yeah. You know, African cuisine is still very much being discovered by mainstream America, you know, but for the African diaspora, you know, for your people, our people, you're really doing something different. You know, you're telling us that your food matters. Yes. You're telling us that the culture matters. Yeah. You're telling our kids the same thing, you know, to be able to sit in their culture. And we know there's been a lot of studies that show kids who are grounded in culture and community, they perform much better. They, you know, they become much better adults and they're more resilient and all the great things that centers a child, you know, that tells them your culture matters. Yes. So I'm thinking do you ever think about all of that? Do you ever think about what that responsibility looks like and how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel, it feels like a lot of responsibility on one side, but then I'm very proud of what we're doing because we're giving children a voice.
Yes.
Like my kids now, they want to go to Ghana, they want to go to Nigeria because they eat the food. I'm not preaching something that my home doesn't reflect.
Right.
You know, so I let my daughter know that like this is what you can be. You can be a chef. You can thrive in African cooking. You don't have to go to like certain culinary areas to thrive because that's what is well known. If you build it well enough, if you strategically,
if you build it well enough. I love that.
Yeah, it will. And if you're intentional and consistent with it well enough, you can also become one of the greats where people know that this is what you've done. And giving children and also children from my background to know that you don't have to be a doctor.
Yeah.
That's not the only thing you have to be. You don't have to be a lawyer, but you can do this. And you don't also have to own a restaurant. You can come up with your own way. Like my own way was cooking classes.
Right.
You know, and like in our research that we've done, we are like I think nationally well-known African Caribbean cooking classes, and we're based in Cincinnati. So that's something that is we started it not knowing that that's what we're going to do. So I will encourage children to like whatever you want to do, whether it's business or whatever, just believe in it and then be consistent, trust in it, ask questions, and go
be
along
proud.
with it.
Be proud of the culture.
Yeah.
What do you want Americans to understand? All Americans, you know, native immigrants, all of that, to understand about immigrant entrepreneurs that you feel like they still don't quite see? If anything, because
immigrants in general, I think I had I was speaking with like a funder from a foundation, and she asked me the same questions about why we're doing what we're doing with the foundation. I was like, immigrants are here not because they want to be. Everybody this place is amazing, of course, but everyone love where they grew up. Like I love Ghana. Right? I'm here because of opportunities that I couldn't get. That's why I'm here. And that's why when our parents come here and then like they're able to save up a little bit, all of them are thinking about what? We're going back. Because like you love where you were brought up. So it's because of challenges. For some people, it's wars. For some people, is issues going on. For some people, it's the lack that drives people to come here. So I'm like, people love where they are brought up. If situations were better. I don't think they will be here. And that's what some people even in Nigeria say, or in different parts, like people who are wealthy in their own country, they come here to do vacation. They don't come here to stay because the life is really good there and stuff like that. So I would say that like immigrants come here not because of just anything, not because they want to come and do whatever we think they want to come, but they are looking for opportunities to also better their life.
They can look and contribute and be a full human being.
Exactly. Contribute, give back, share. And also like, I feel like the world is becoming one. We're learning from each other. So, yeah.
That's great.
I
love it. And I just, the work that you do has impacts in so many different ways, from, like you mentioned, Clara, like seeing like youth being able to see themselves reflected in the food and the flavors that you're offering, that you're an entrepreneur and I can be an entrepreneur. Kids are saying this and seeing this and feeling a sense of home. However they're defining it. They'll be able to define it in their own way, but feel a sense of belonging, which I think that is a great gift and that is crucial and necessary. Then you also have the economic impact that, of building and growing your business, having staff, and so it's, you're just touching on a lot of different ways. And it gets back to that food is community, food is culture, food is an economic driver. And, I think you're helping out so many people. You're giving back to survivors of domestic violence. You're giving back to newly arrived immigrant communities. And that's just, you found a way to combine your passions of science and food and community to really build something for your family and then for the broader community. We all benefit. So thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for your time being here. We only have a few more minutes. And so we always like to end with a kind of a quick round.
Yep.
I hate that we have that the time is coming up. We're having such a good conversation, but we do need to wrap up. So we have a few kind of quick questions.
Sure.
They're a bit chaotic. Clara?
All right. What's the one Ghanaian dish that every American needs to try before they die?
My gosh, that is a hard question. I would say Waakye. Waakye is, a lot of people talk about jollof rice, but Waakye is rice and beans, black eyed pea beans, food that you pair with like a stew and meat, and then it has spaghetti and it has something called gari.
Spaghetti?
Yes.
In the Waakye?
On top of it,
beans?
it's like a side. And then it has salad, and it has like this spicy sauce called shito, which is like a spicy seafood sauce. It's kind of, think about the chili sauce, but like it has like dry shrimps and stuff. It's really delicious.
This
so
sounds delicious.
It is amazing.
So spaghetti?
Yes. It's not the main thing is the rice and beans.
Spaghetti,
the
rice and beans.
Yes.
And
it has some
a
gari
salad.
on top. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it has some gari. Gari is like a cassava, dried cassava. And then like it has the stew and the chicken or whatever meat you preferably beef or goat meat and stuff like that.
When's the next time you're making it?
Oh, maybe like this week.
And what time and where?
About it, right?
You knew I was going. Like,
it's really good. I
what
love
time and
it.
where we can be there.
Yeah.
What's a spice you can't cook without?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. I would say ginger. Because
Ginger.
yes,
You can't cook without ginger.
yes, because ginger is a big part of my Ghanaian culture. We have ginger in our soup stew. We use it to marinate our chicken. So I keep a bulk pounds of ginger at home for everything, because we make a lot of soups and stew, and the shito I mentioned, you need ginger in there. So ginger is a spice that I can't cook without.
I can't imagine that ginger. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds
My grandmother used to give us ginger to eat, like raw ginger,
Really?
because according to Shona tradition,
Yeah.
ginger keeps the hatred away in families.
Really?
Yeah, it's a Zimbabwean myth.
Wow.
But we had to
Grow-
eat raw ginger.
I grew up in the South in the U.S. in ginger ale, and it was a cure-all for everything.
everything.
You have a cold, ginger ale.
Ginger
My mom was
ale.
like,
So
"You're
I
sick,
guess-
ginger
You're
ale."
having nausea, ginger ale.
Yes.
So I guess in my culture, it's a cure for hatred. Like, eat
Wow.
ginger and you don't have any airs about each other as a family.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's see. So have you ever heard, do you know gera?
I know it's
Gera?
a sausage, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Gera or jollof rice?
Always jollof rice, because I'm not a big fan of sausage anyways. So always jollof rice. Jollof rice will always be a yes.
A mentor who changed the way you see yourself.
I would say my husband. My husband was not just my husband, but he was a friend first and a mentor first, and helped me to like redefine the way I thought about everything. So yeah.
After everything you told us about him, I think I agree.
Yes.
All right. What does home smell like?
Oh, home smells like food. I would just be in general food, because that's where I guess I feel most comfort. Yeah.
Well, Gabi, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having
We
me.
truly enjoyed the conversation, and the world you have built. From Ghana to Maryland and now to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is so lucky to have you. As a long-term resident of Cincinnati myself, I can tell the difference, from 26 years ago when I came to Cincinnati.
Yes.
And now when there's a plethora of all these offerings,
Yes.
including always seeing Afromeals,
Yeah.
on somewhere, I always get that kick of, oh my gosh, someone is representing us.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for
It
being
was
here.
fun.
Well, you are listening to Roots, Roots and Voices, Stories That Shape America. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Visit CincinnatiCampus.org to stay connected. I'm Clara Matonoze, and thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening today. The voice you heard in this episode is one of thousands in this region. People whose roots run deep somewhere else and whose routes brought them here to this country. We are grateful they led us into their story.
If today's conversation stayed with you, share it. Pass it to someone who needs to hear it. Leave a review. And if you carry a story of your own roots, your own routes, we want to hear from you. Reach out through CincinnatiCompass.org.
You can find Roots, Routes and Voices on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you listen. New episodes are rolling out now. Season 2 is made possible with the support of the Marketer Collaborative and the Greater Cincinnati Foundation. We are grateful for both partnerships.
Cincinnati Compass connects people to opportunity and builds a more inclusive region. Learn more at CincinnatiCompass.org. Until next time.
Keep telling your story.